Your feed is packed with perfect bodies, bulging muscles, and promises of overnight gains. But here's what nobody really tells you. What's actually going on behind all that? Is it really worth taking steroids? What are the risks? And what might your body be trying to tell you before you take that next step? So grab your pre-workout and roll with us, cause today's talk is raw, unfiltered, and packed with everything you need to know before falling for someone else's physique. Take a deep breath, because this video might change the way you see the whole perfect body chase. More and more people are turning to anabolic androgenic steroids, aka gear or juice, hoping to transform their bodies fast. But is that shortcut really worth it? In this video, we're diving deep into this world, looking not just at the physical effects, but also at the mental and social impacts these substances can have. Because behind all the muscle, there might be a lot more going on than just training and diet. The pressure to look a certain way on social media and even in the gym has pushed a lot of people toward this option. The pitch is hard to resist. More muscle, less fat, and faster results than you ever thought possible. But is there a hidden price to pay for that? So, what exactly are anabolic androgenic steroids? They're synthetic compounds made to mimic testosterone, your body's main male sex hormone. They aim to replicate its anabolic effects, like building muscle mass, and its androgenic effects, like developing male characteristics. In short, these formulas are designed to speed up muscle growth and boost physical performance. Originally, these substances were created for medical purposes. People suffering from severe muscle loss due to cancer, AIDS, or conditions like hypogonadism really benefited from them. But over time, steroids left the doctor's office and ended up in gyms, competitions, and all over social media. Why? Because they promised a strong, ripped body in record time. And the truth is, steroids do work. When paired with hardcore training and solid nutrition, they can massively increase muscle mass and cut body fat way faster than normal. It's like putting your body into beast mode, an unnatural fast-forward button. That's why so many people are tempted to try them. But like everything in life, shortcuts come at a cost. Steroids don't just mess with your muscles, they mess with your whole system. We're talking hormones, vital organs like your liver, heart, and kidneys, and it doesn't stop there. They also impact your brain, your emotions, your reactions, your mindset. A lot of people ask, if it works, then what's the problem? The thing is, those muscle gains come with a long list of side effects. You don't get the benefits without the risks. And for some folks, the price is just too high. What's worse, those side effects don't always hit right away. Sometimes they show up months or even years after you stop using. You've probably heard someone say, I know a guy who took gear and he's fine. And that happens. But there are also tons of cases where the side effects were brutal, physically and mentally. The problem is almost no one talks about that. Those who've had issues usually stay quiet out of shame. And the ones who haven't think they're invincible. That's how the misinformation keeps going. When someone decides to use steroids, they need to understand the impact goes way beyond the gym mirror. These substances cause serious hormonal shifts that affect multiple systems in your body. We're talking metabolic changes, structural changes, even psychological changes. So the transformation isn't just on the outside, it's happening inside too. And it's not always for the better. One of the first organs to take a hit is your liver. It's responsible for breaking down these compounds, many of which are extremely toxic, that can lead to real damage, like drug-induced hepatitis, liver tumors, or even complete liver failure. Your kidneys, which filter your blood, can also get overloaded, especially if you're using for a long time or stacking with other drugs. For guys, one of the most common and alarming side effects is testicular atrophy. That means your testicles actually shrink. Why? Because when your body starts getting testosterone from an outside source, it thinks it's got enough and stops making its own. Over time, the testicles get smaller and sperm production drops hard, sometimes leading to infertility. Your body loses its natural balance and stops functioning the way it was designed to. Another serious risk is heart hypertrophy. Basically, your heart muscle grows in a way it shouldn't. Even though it's getting bigger, it's actually working less efficiently. That raises your chances of heart failure, arrhythmias, and even cardiac arrest. Add in a spike in bad cholesterol, LDL, and a drop in good cholesterol, HDL, and you've got a perfect storm for a heart attack or stroke. Your blood pressure can also climb significantly, leading to chronic hypertension, which puts even more strain on your heart and blood vessels. And let's not forget the more visible stuff: bad acne, super oily skin, and even painful cysts. These aren't just cosmetic issues. They can wreck your confidence and mess with your skin health too. Now, it's important to point out that these risks aren't the same for everyone. The specific type of steroid, the dose, how long you're using it, how often you inject, and even your genetics all play a role in how your body reacts. So yeah, someone might use it and feel fine, while someone else could run into serious problems fast. It's not exactly Russian roulette, but you also can't predict how your body's going to respond. Side effects from steroids hit people differently, especially when comparing men and women. That's because hormones work very differently in each body. When you overload your system with testosterone or its synthetic cousins, your body tries to adjust, but that adjustment isn't always smooth or safe. So let's break down what can happen to each gender. In men, one of the first signs is hair loss, especially if you're already genetically prone to male pattern baldness. High levels of androgens speed up that process big time. Another effect that hits hard is gynecomastia, basically the growth of male breast tissue that happens when excess testosterone gets converted into estrogen. The result? Puffy, sensitive chest tissue that looks and feels like breasts. It can be painful, embarrassing, and in most cases, only surgery can fix it. For women, the side effects tend to be even more intense. Steroids can mess with the menstrual cycle, causing irregular periods, delays, or even stopping it completely. Your body basically says too much testosterone, don't need estrogen anymore, which throws your whole reproductive system out of whack. Long term, this can seriously impact fertility and overall hormonal health. Another common effect in women is the appearance of facial and body hair in places where it usually wouldn't grow, like the chin, chest, or back. Body hair also gets thicker and darker. The clitoris may enlarge too, a condition called clitoromegaly, making it resemble a small penis. In some cases, that change doesn't go away even after you stop using steroids. There's also a deepening of the voice. Women can develop a lower, more masculine tone. The scary part? Unlike other side effects, vocal changes don't always go back to normal. Many women lose their natural voice for good and struggle with it socially and professionally. The emotional toll can be huge, especially when nobody warned them ahead of time. It's becoming more common to see teens and young adults getting exposed to steroids. A lot of them start thinking about it early in adulthood, chasing that ideal body image. But what's even more concerning is when usage starts earlier, while the body is still developing. That's when the risks go through the roof and the damage can be permanent. During adolescence, the body goes through some serious changes. Bones, muscles, organs, and the whole hormonal system are still figuring things out. Throwing in a powerful substance like a steroid at that stage is like trying to rush a cake that's still baking. You might think it looks ready on the outside, but inside, it's still raw. And the result? Complications that go way beyond just how you look. One of the biggest dangers for teens who use steroids is stunted bone growth. That's because artificial hormones can trick the body into thinking it's time to stop growing. As a result, growth plates in the bones might close too early, cutting off the chance to reach your full height potential. In other words, that gear could literally stunt your growth. There's also a big risk of messing up the body's natural development, like the maturing of reproductive organs and the overall hormonal balance. That can lead to fertility issues, early erectile dysfunction in boys, and serious menstrual problems in girls. And the worst part? Most teens don't even realize they're putting their future health at risk by using something that seems harmless at first glance. Another huge concern is how emotionally vulnerable teens are. At that age, it's totally normal to be searching for self-worth, confidence, and a sense of belonging. When a muscular body becomes a symbol of success or respect, a lot of young people are willing to do anything to get it. And that includes taking risks they don't fully understand. Ever stop to think that your 16 or 17-year-old gym buddy might be risking their health just to look stronger. The pressure to stand out, combined with a lack of good info, creates the perfect storm for bad decisions. And unfortunately, parents, teachers, and coaches aren't always paying attention to the warning signs. In many countries, using anabolic steroids without a medical prescription is actually illegal. That means only people with a legit medical need, like hypogonadism, where the body doesn't produce enough testosterone, are supposed to use them. In those cases, steroids are prescribed by doctors, with proper monitoring, safe dosages, and regular checkups. But let's be real, that's not what's happening most of the time. A lot of people are getting these substances from sketchy sources, buying them illegally at gyms, random websites, or even through DMs on social media. In those situations, no one asks for blood work. No one checks your health history. All you need is cash. And that's one of the scariest parts of the whole thing. Without proper medical guidance, the chances of complications skyrocket. The stuff people buy often comes from unregulated labs, with zero quality control. What's inside the bottle might not match the label at all. Imagine injecting something into your body, thinking it's a hormone, and it turns out to be cooking oil or some dodgy mix of unknown chemicals. Sounds extreme, right? But it happens more often than you'd think. Another major problem is the ridiculous doses people take. While a patient with low testosterone might get a small, controlled amount, aesthetic users often go overboard, stacking multiple compounds in what's known as a cycle, without any real clue how they interact. Your body basically becomes an unmonitored science experiment. Some folks try to follow advice from forums or YouTube videos, thinking that's enough, but that's not real medical knowledge, and it's definitely not personalized. And here's the kicker. Even some licensed doctors prescribe steroids without a real clinical need, just to satisfy a patient's vanity. That creates a gray area where the use might seem legal, but it's still ethically questionable. And when people go fully solo, buying and injecting without any professional help, the risk gets even worse. We're talking infections, botched injections, allergic reactions, serious hormonal crashes. All of it becomes way more likely when you don't really know what you're using or how to use it. That old saying, cheap turns out expensive, it fits perfectly here. A lot of people think the effects of steroids are just physical, but the mental side can be just as dangerous, if not worse. Long-term use, especially in high doses, can trigger a whole range of psychological issues. And the scariest part? These changes don't always show up right away. Sometimes they creep in slowly, shifting someone's behavior before they even realize it. Some of the most common mental side effects include mood swings, constant irritability, and increased impulsiveness. Little things that used to be no big deal suddenly feel overwhelming. Your mood flips hard, and keeping your cool gets harder and harder. These changes can mess with your relationships, your job, and even how you feel about yourself. Another frequent effect is a rise in aggression. The infamous roid rage is real. It's when users explode over stuff that normally wouldn't even faze them. A simple disagreement can turn into a full-blown fight, and that aggression isn't always aimed at others. Sometimes it turns inward, leading to self-destructive habits like heavy drinking, isolating from friends, or getting stuck in a loop of negative thoughts. Steroid use has also been linked to antisocial behavior, breaking rules, lying constantly, and in some cases, even criminal activity. When your brain's out of balance, your moral judgment and empathy can take a hit. And when that happens, people start to pull away. Friends, family, your support system, it all starts to crumble right when you need it most. One study with over 10,000 participants revealed some scary stats. Steroid users showed higher rates of depression, anxiety, and trouble managing anger compared to non-users. They also had more cases of psychosis, manic episodes, and even suicide attempts. It's serious stuff that often requires psychological support and professional help. The risk is even higher for teens and long-term users, people who've been on gear for years or use super high doses. A developing brain is way more vulnerable, and the longer you're exposed to these substances, the higher the odds of serious problems. What's really dangerous is that many users don't even realize their mental state is being affected, They just think they're going through a rough patch. These days, all it takes is a scroll through Instagram or TikTok, and you're hit with an endless stream of insanely shredded, jacked, and perfect bodies. Ripped abs, popping veins, zero body fat, and huge muscles everywhere. The hypertrophy aesthetic has gone mainstream, and people now see it as the ultimate sign of success, discipline, and beauty. But what most don't realize is that a lot of these inspirational images are backed by quiet steroid use. The real problem? Most influencers don't talk about it. They sell the dream that their physique is just the result of hard training, clean eating, and the right supplements. They never mention the chemical boost behind the scenes. That creates a dangerous illusion that anyone can look like that if they just try hard enough. But what happens when someone tries and doesn't get the same results? Frustration hits fast. People start copying every move, same meals, same gym routine, same stack of supplements, but they don't get anywhere near the same outcome. And then they wonder, what's wrong with me? The truth is, nothing's wrong with you. What's wrong is comparing yourself to a standard that's not natural or entirely honest. But few people are bold enough to say that out loud. This kind of aesthetic pressure deeply affects people's self-image. They start to feel not enough just because they don't look like that ultra-edited, steroid-enhanced ideal. That can lead to low self-esteem, eating disorders, obsessive training habits, and even depression. And for some, the only solution they see is the one their favorite influencer never admitted to: using steroids. And it's not just athletes or bodybuilders. Movie stars, models, and celebrities also turn to these substances to transform their bodies quickly for roles or photo shoots. A ripped physique has become part of the public image package. And even if they've got an entire medical team behind them, the public only sees the result and sets it as a personal goal. As long as steroid use stays a taboo subject, people are going to keep suffering in silence, chasing something that might not even be real. Talking openly about it, honestly and responsibly, can change that. This isn't about promoting or shaming, but about showing the truth behind what you see on screen. Because the problem isn't having a great body, it's lying about how you got it. And here's one thing a lot of people forget when they compare themselves to influencers or celebs: genetics. Every body reacts differently to training, dieting, supplements, and even hormones. Some people build muscle easily, stay lean year-round, and look shredded with minimal effort. Others have to grind like crazy just to make small progress, and that's completely normal. Genetics play a huge role in how your body looks and responds to training. It affects your bone structure, muscle symmetry, natural hormone levels, and even how fast you recover after a workout. So when you see someone transform in just a few months, that could be the result of a mix of factors, not just willpower. Honestly, even with steroids, it might be impossible to copy that physique because your body is built differently. On top of that, a lot of the physiques we see in the media weren't built on just chicken, broccoli, and hard work. Take Hollywood actors, for example. They often run steroid cycles to bulk up fast for movie roles. But they've got doctors, nutritionists, and personal trainers on call 24/7. That setup is miles away from what regular people have access to. The real issue? Nobody talks about it. The behind-the-scenes stuff stays hidden, and what you hear in interviews is always the same script. I just trained hard and ate clean. That lack of honesty feeds unrealistic comparisons, making a lot of people feel like failures when they can't hit that same standard. But how can you compare your effort to someone playing a totally different game? These kinds of comparisons can be toxic and seriously harmful to your mental health. They create frustration, insecurity, and even anxiety. Working out stops being something that makes you feel good and starts becoming an obsession. Your self-esteem crashes, and the joy of taking care of your body fades away. All because you're measuring yourself against a bar that doesn't even make sense for most people. The truth is, having a healthy, functional body doesn't mean looking like a bodybuilder or a movie star. Everyone has their own balance between looks, health, and happiness. Chasing your best within your reality is what really matters. Knowing your limits, including your genetic ones, isn't weakness. It's smart. After everything we've covered, it's clear that steroid use goes way beyond just muscles and aesthetics. The effects of these substances vary a lot from person to person. Age, sex, genetics, hormonal sensitivity, and overall health history all shape how your body responds. There's no one-size-fits-all, and no two people will react the same way. It's also important to remember that steroids have legit medical uses. They're essential in treating certain conditions like hypogonadism or muscle-wasting diseases in patients with HIV or cancer. In those cases, they're prescribed in small doses under medical supervision with the goal of restoring health, not chasing looks. In that context, the risks are much lower. The real danger comes when these substances are used recreationally and irresponsibly, just to look better. That's when doses skyrocket, medical oversight disappears, and people start taking on unnecessary risks. A lot of users don't even know what they're injecting, how to do it safely, or what to do when side effects hit. And sometimes by the time those effects show up, it's already too late. Plus, science is still learning about the long-term impact of steroids on the human body. This kind of widespread, reckless use is relatively new, and we're only beginning to study what happens decades down the line. In the future, we might find out the risks are even worse than we thought, or maybe less in some cases. But right now, there are way more questions than answers. That uncertainty alone should be enough to make you think twice. When you put something in your body without fully knowing how it'll affect you 5, 10, 20 years from now, you're gambling with your health. And health isn't something you can just hit reset on. Some effects are permanent. Others require expensive, drawn-out treatment. So, is it really worth risking all that for a short-term look? After everything we've talked about today, one thing's clear. The conversation around steroid use is just getting started. There's still a lot to uncover, both in science and in society. There are tons of unanswered questions, myths that keep getting passed around, and way too many people making decisions about their bodies without ever getting the info they should have had from the beginning. That's why videos like this one matter so much. If you made it this far, it's probably because you care about your health, or maybe someone else's, and that alone is a big deal. Our goal here was never to judge or tell you what to do. We just wanted to show the other side of the story, the side a lot of people don't talk about. Because in the end, it's your choice. But it should be made with clarity, not confusion. We really hope this video gave you something to think about. And if it did, hit that like button down below. That small click tells YouTube this video matters, and it helps us reach more people with real quality information. If you're into this kind of honest, science-based content made with heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Want to go a step further and help us keep this project alive? Click join right here on the channel and check out the exclusive perks we've put together for those who choose to support our work. Thanks for sticking with us all the way through. Real information shared with respect and clarity. That's what drives this channel. And knowing you're on the other side, watching, learning, and growing, that motivates us every single day. See you in the next one. And remember, taking care of your body matters, but taking care of your mind matters even more.